How often do we buy a new camera, camera gear, thinking that somehow this is going to make my work so much better that I'm finally going to get that camera award, that I'll be the best photographer in my town. Spoiler alert, it usually doesn't. Years ago, in a town far, far away from you, I stumbled upon a channel that made me question everything and laugh while doing it. Enter Camera Conspiracies, a channel where cameras are roasted, praised, and everything in between. Casey's comedic take on camera gear made me realize that maybe, just maybe, I could even do this too. So let's talk about Casey, the brains behind the channel Camera Conspiracies. I love his approach, I really do. I wish I could be as funny and comedic as he is, but somehow when I read the news, I get old CNN, Fox News, or insert your favorite news channel. It's just something about covering news, rumors, and patent applications. But Casey, no matter what he's covering, he has that sort of irreverent humor where he roasts everything he's reviewing, saying the camera's absolutely crap.
So I could just be imagining this, but I feel that most of the camera channels don't like me, and it's because I've made fun of most of them, if we're being honest. But here's why I do this. I remember back in high school, my best friend Junior, we were hanging out a lot, and we both had the same self-deprecating humor, and we were just not egotistical at all. It was so fun to make fun of ourselves. So that's my humor, self-deprecating, it's funniest. Where I run into problems, I also assume other people don't mind that. And so like I'm very easy to poke fun at anybody.
I remember fondly some of those sessions where he's supposedly interviewing Canon executives in a boardroom, telling us what's really going on, what Canon's really thinking, what Panasonic's really thinking.
All right, fellas, it's pretty cool being at the top, isn't it? We just dethroned Canon, so like we don't even have to try anymore. It's Sony all the way here. You just see us, we have the media outlets using our cameras. We don't even have to work anymore. This is fantastic, Johnson. Sir, I don't mean to alarm you, but isn't that how Rome fell? Like they stopped caring, they were too far ahead. They didn't protect their gates, they stopped innovating, and then the little guy worked more, and he was harder, and he was hungry for the truth. You've lost the drive. You don't deserve to be in the camera industry.
And part of his quest for the perfect camera, that infamous camera hierarchy, a pyramid scheme where the top is always just out of reach. And finally, one day, if we manage to buy that best camera, the camera right at the top, suddenly you're at the bottom again. Thanks, Casey, because there's always a better camera. But in all seriousness, you know, Casey, one thing he does is he kind of breaks the technology down. He brings us in with his humor. And all you have to do is look at the number of subscribers, the number of views, and you can see that it works. By making us laugh, by bringing us in, we get behind the gear, we get to understand the gear. But I think one of the most important qualities of his videos is he kind of lets us know, humorously, that it's not about the gear. It's about you. It's about that passion for creativity. It's about getting out there and trying things. I remember one video where he's out in the streets of Toronto and he had a camera strapped to him and he was testing 4K 120. I can't remember which camera it was. I think it might have been the R5 or the R5 Mark II. And I thought, why didn't I try that? Well, one, I don't live in Toronto, and two, it's not me. See, for me, I want to run into the wild, to me it's the mountains, the lakes, the rivers, the animals. But still, how he gave us that cinematic approach, and it wasn't about talking about how the camera had 4K 120, because again, I forgot what camera he's talking about. It's making the technology approachable and showing us what we can do with it. And I think if you haven't gotten past the humor, rewatch some of his videos again and listen carefully, because he is inspiring. He is taking us behind the gear and focusing on that passion for creating. Because if you don't have a passion for this, you're not going to produce incredible results. You're just going to produce mediocre results. And going back 6-7 years ago, watching his content gave me the confidence to pick up a camera and just start filming. No excuses, no waiting for the perfect setup. And you don't even need good hair. Casey reminded me not to take myself too seriously. If you take a look at my first few videos, I'm very serious, very pensive, and trying to be inspiring and learned and all those wonderful things. I stood at first with a green screen and did all that stuff. I don't do that anymore. In fact, my set is rather dull and boring, and it actually serves a utilitarian purpose, a place to store my gear, because Studio A here is part of our basement. There's my workout area. There's a spare room over here, a TV room, my son's play area. And I use this area here as my channel. It's kind of, everybody knows to stay away from this spot, not to touch the cables, because heaven forbid things get moved. And I can tell because I can see on the carpet the tripod, and I can tell when things have moved. Not to take myself too seriously. And what I started to do, I got rid of the teleprompter, because the teleprompter, while it allows me to say exactly what I want to say without missing a single point to stay on message, it becomes very, what's the word? It's not Spartan, but it becomes very, see this, and I'm not cutting this here, but it loses something about the atmosphere. And I think when we talk to people, at least me, my personality, I like to connect. I like to understand. I have a high EQ, and for me, it's not just what is being said, it's how it's being said, the posture and all that. So when I talk to somebody, the conversation, I'm very good at picking up on things. And so by overly editing the videos, by having jump cuts every single second, and yes, that was a bit of a William Shatner there, not intended, but those jump cuts, I've gone away with that. I'm an older person. I don't mind longer videos. I don't mind if they go on for a while, as long as the message is there. And so I learned from Casey not to do all these cuts, to just go, go, go. Sorry for hitting the mic, but just continue to go and get better at delivery and presentation. And it's worked, I think. But there's still one thing that I'm not very good at, and that's delivering the humor at work, in my daily life. If there's an opportunity for a joke, I lay into it. But I guess it's because I'm delivering here. I've got some points on my spreadsheet here, not spreadsheet, on my presentation that I have to hit. And I'm focused on looking into this glassy metallic eye and seeing you, even though I'm not. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of ability. And ability, it's not easy. And the humor part that I'm trying to bring in, I've been working over the last year to add more humor. It's a little bit more difficult, because when I'm sitting in the office in a meeting, even if it's with a meeting full of 20 accountants, if I see a joke, I'll let it go. And it's funny sometimes, because you'll see a third of them just laugh, another third laugh and then immediately recoil it back, and another third just kind of look at you like, what are you doing? We're serious here. Maybe that's why I'm not a director in my day job. Maybe it's why I never excelled much further. And I know it's not. It's because I've valued a quality of life. And I didn't want to work 80 hours a week for 20 years. Putting in humor here is a lot more difficult. And I got to give it to Casey for the ability to deliver that humor day in and day out like that, to turn it on. That takes real talent. So this is a bit of an homage or a roast to Casey, but at the same point, you know, I respect what he's done, and he truly has inspired me to start this channel. So here's to Camera Conspiracies and its editorial owner and director, Casey, a channel that roasts cameras and doesn't take itself too seriously, while inspiring creators like myself. Thanks for showing me that sometimes the best way to start is just to hit record and see what happens. Thanks for teaching me it's not about being liked in this money world. And my goal on my channel was never to make a lot of money, $100 to $200 a month, so I could buy a camera every 3 years. And if you have children, you understand that spending money on yourself is a bit of a challenge. The goal of this channel also wasn't to make an awful lot of friends and to be liked, although I did want to build a community where people could come and talk about cameras and ask questions. I truly, at the heart of this, wanted to learn. I go back to 2019 when I was looking at buying a new camera to replace my 70D right here. And the 90D was getting ready to be announced, and I was so excited. For a month, I was watching everybody, and that's where I discovered Camera Conspiracies. And I was excited. I thought, oh, you know what? I don't need full frame. Full frame's really expensive. I can get the 90D. And I woke up in the morning and guess what? They had taken away, I'll leave it here. They'd taken away 24 frames per second in all and I was livid. And then I was watching one of Casey's videos, and he was there in his mother's house. He had just, like it was a cardboard partition, set design, set quality. It was nowhere near a Tony or a Matty Hapaluge or what's that guy who's just 10 minutes north of me? Peter McKinnon. None of those guys. And I thought, wow, he's able to do this. How hard could it be? I mean, my son was 2 at the time, so he was in bed by usually 6:37. My wife didn't come home from work till around 11 o'clock. I couldn't go anywhere. So I could binge watch TV or I could do something productive. And I decided with how hard can it be to grab a tripod, grab my 70D and start recording. And you know, when Casey talks about the perfect camera, sometimes the perfect camera is the camera that you've got with you. Because the 70D back in 2019 wasn't producing very good results. So the video quality was it was pretty bad, but you see, so was I. I mean, I didn't have like 1,000 subscribers until about almost 3 months later, and I could do another video on somebody else that helped get me monetized, because to get monetized within 2.5 months is a big deal. But those first couple of months, if you take a look at my videos, or better still, take a look at Casey's early videos or Peter McKinnon, all of them, you'll see how green they are. If you've got an idea for something, don't just think about it. Get your ass out of the seat and start doing it. No matter how bad it is, start doing it. Don't think that you need to go out and spend $6,000 on a new camera, $4,000 on a Canon EOS R5, $3,000 on a Sony a7 IV or a Nikon Z8 or a Nikon Z6 Mark III. Use what you've got. And if you don't have a proper camera, so what? Use your smartphone. And maybe it's not cameras for you, maybe it's something else, but inspiration. There's nothing better than achieving a certain goal. It is exhilarating. It's an amazing feeling. And you feel like you're on top of the world. To have actually turned this channel into a real business, where I have an accountant and lawyers to help me manage this business, on top of a day job, on top of a third job where I now write for Canon Rumors as well, on top of raising a family, you might be thinking, how on earth am I doing all this? And sometimes I wonder myself. But I do love my wife, my family. I have a good family and a very supportive family that helps me with this business, because one of my goals now is, while not to make a ton of money, is to help me get towards retirement, to support my movement into retirement, become a retirement gig, all that sort of stuff. But my day job, it can be very rewarding at times, and it has a lot of really good benefits to that, including not having to work more than your standard daily hours, which gives me more time to do this, which is something that's a bit of a passion. So thank you, Casey, for roasting cameras and channels and gear. And you know, I haven't watched your channel a lot in the last few years since I started my own, but you know, lately I haven't been feeling well, so I've been watching a little bit more YouTube and been getting caught up. And while I was laying there in bed earlier, I watched one of your older videos, and that's where I got my inspiration. So even though I've got 4 videos already lined up for this week, this one, yeah, this has been the most fun so far. I don't even want to stop talking. I feel like I can keep ranting on. 17 minutes of recording so far, and I haven't gone back and re-recorded. I haven't taken many different takes. this is what it's like when you actually start something that you enjoy, and it's not easy at first. It's never easy at first. Anybody that tells you it's easy is probably lying to you or trying to sell you on something. But I will say it was fun. And I thought I was doing a great job, despite how bad that first video was. I think I even had ISO on auto. Jump cuts every second or two. Now, you don't see jump cuts. But there is one peeve. You know, one thing I can't stand is all those videos, and sometimes they're videos with millions of subscribers, where they don't know how to manage the audio. And I'm not saying my audio is the best, but where it feels like in every video, they're not taking a breath. That it's constant cut, cut, cut. I have to click off those. I just can't relax. Just, if you do start your own channel, and you have a talking piece, and then you cut, and you throw up some B-roll to cover up the cut, allow 5, 6 to 8 frames of no audio, and then speak. And it's smoother. You should be able to watch a video. Actually, you should be able to listen to a video and not watch it, and it to sound natural. And I don't know why so many channels, so many very big and successful channels, way more successful than me, do that, because I find it so irritating. Anyhows, I should probably close off this video. A big thanks to you, Casey. You were very much an inspiration before. And now I look at your channel and it's like, you're one of the top guys. And I don't know anybody else that does humor the way you do. Chris and Jordan, I think they do a pretty good job, but they don't have that natural flair that you do, where it just seems so natural. Never stop that. It's awesome.